Ian watched the Ted Bundy. What is
Whenever
it?
he admitted it in the prison cell at the very end of the movie, my jaw dropped. She puts ketchup on her turkey. Ketchup.
Surely people put on rotisserie chicken.
I was saying we made a deal that if we get to 10 episodes, we'll actually put some money into this podcast and buy the proper equipment that we need. But
yeah, because it's come to our attention that every now and again the mics will, peak a little bit and they go down.
Great
a little
mics.
bit.
Thank you, Care Heater. Absolutely.
Sorry
set
for
us
not
up for
paying
success.
you until a couple of days ago.
We had our CFO reach out. And I said in the comments that as soon as she followed our TikTok account that I would have our CFO reach out. But I sent the money anyways.
She should have read
And
the
she
fine
hasn't
print before
followed
we
us
picked
yet.
these up. What?
Yeah, she never followed. I just sent the money.
Here's the
I felt bad.
Let me tell you guys a little bit of lore. I used to have a podcast with Kara.
I think she's jealous a
And
little bit.
we got in 2 podcasts, recorded a third. It's kind of my fault because I didn't cut it quick enough. You're great at cutting things on time. The one thing that we put out, plus the 2 little micro pieces, on time.
I enjoy cutting micro pieces.
Yeah.
It's fun, like, I don't know. You have to cut them so quick. And, like, there can't be any gaps in between who's talking. And it's just, I don't know. I have a blast making it. And you can kind of make any story you want out of it, which is kind of fun. Like, you can make the littlest thing sound so dramatic.
I feel like in another life, you'd be like one of those people who write for those magazines on celebrities, and everything they write is, like, fake.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what they're
Like
called.
clickbaited.
Yeah, but like, I think you'd be like a journalist, and you would write these stories.
I will say I can't stand writing. I had a class in college where the only thing I had to do for that whole entire class was the final paper. I had no other thing to do for the class. It was an online class.
What class was that?
I don't even remember. It was some business class. And it came down to like the last week where I had to turn this ginormous research paper in. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, I'm a business major. I should do a business move right here. So I went online. I hired a guy for $30. He wrote the whole paper for me. I ran it through, if my college professor is watching this, I didn't do this. I ran it through a software to make sure he didn't plagiarize.
Is about to get revoked.
I know, right? I got a 92 on the paper.
Whoa.
Was stoked. And I was like, at first I'm like, that's just wrong. I shouldn't be doing this. But then I was like, I'm a business major, and I just saved time.
You know what?
So I
didn't know you were a business major.
Yeah, I got my only associate's degree, but.
Okay.
And then I was like,
I
I'm
didn't know
going to
that's
go do
what you
video
chose
stuff.
I took a lot of classes in college, and they were all very different.
Were they?
Yeah.
You said a class the other day that you took, and I can't remember what it was, but I was like, there's no way there's a class for that.
Interesting.
But I don't remember what it was.
It was like really specific?
It was, yeah, very.
Huh.
I also heard that they're making a Taylor Swift class.
No.
At some college. I don't know what it is. Or they're just going to study her. Which I guess from a business perspective is kind of cool, but kind of weird at the same time.
Well, I don't think I would take a Taylor Swift class.
I don't think I would either. I definitely
I see
would not
enough
either,
about
but-
her everywhere else. I feel like I know her by now. I feel like we should pick up off of Steve Kellogg's comment.
So, yeah.
Tell the people what happened, Ian.
All right. So the cameras died, right? And I might have been like, we can't. From a viewer's perspective, a black screen is not fun to watch. And all the cameras were dead for 8 minutes. Or not dead, but we reached the recording limit. And I said we should cut that segment. But she had started it. And people had heard that. And I had 3 people. Not just Steve Kellogg. Shout out to you, Steve Kellogg. My cousin Shepard reached out to me. He's like, you should talk about that on the next podcast.
Wow.
Steve Kellogg is very interested in it. And there was someone else that I can't think of, I'm so sorry, that reached out to me and said we should do it.
So basically, Perry Personal Space, Ian said that it's going to put our people to sleep. Like, all of our listeners are going to click off, and it was the most boring thing ever. You did say
I did say
off.
go to sleep, though.
Okay. So basically, everyone has this thing called like body schema, and it's like connected with Perry Personal Space. And I saved a bunch of fun little things on it, but I will read just a little bit as not to put the people to sleep. But basically, like, okay. So research has found that certain brain cells become active when you approach like objects, or like if an object approaches you. So like if a gnat like flies toward your face,
Right.
like you'll know to like swat it away because you can feel that. Or if like somebody is like behind you, like you can kind of feel that. So basically, your peripersonal space extends to an arm's length. And then people with like longer arms are obviously gonna have like longer personal space.
Right.
Peripersonal space. But what's really cool about it is when you use like a tool, or if you're in like a car, your body's peripersonal space expands that area. So if you're parking a vehicle, you're like, I know exactly where everything is around me because this car is like a part of me now. So I know I can fit into this space, but not this one.
Sure.
But that's really the gist of it. I didn't really have
interesting.
It's very interesting. And like people research a lot about this for various reasons, because like humans have a really great like peripersonal space area, but like some animals may not.
Right.
Anyway.
So some animals just run into things.
I wanted to give you guys the Cliff Notes version of it. And
that's
now, pretty much it.
See, this time you guys got to see her explaining it and not just hear her explaining it.
Well,
so
I was
if
telling
you are
people,
asleep, here's your alarm clock. If you're not asleep, it's probably because you could see her.
I was telling people in my last one that I don't think I have a good sense of peripersonal space, because like I was in a car once and I crashed into a parked car because I thought I could fit.
Honestly, the only time I've ever hit somebody else is when it was parked as well. So
that was the only time I ever crashed my car. Yeah. And it was so gentle, but she was really mad about it. I was on the phone with my dad. Really? I'm kind of blasting him this episode, but he's not going to listen, so it's okay. No.
Hey, we love you, Mr. Scott.
But I was in my college parking, and it was like it was everything so tight in Athens, like especially the garages.
Sure.
And that's where my parking was. I couldn't park outside of it or I was going to get a ticket. And everyone parks crooked and over the lines, and I was so tired of going up to the final like level. So I was just like, I think I can fit.
Yeah.
I'm talking to my dad and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I can fit. And he's not listening. He's like doing his own thing. And of course you hear the little like against the, and he goes, what was that? And I was like,
wait, you knew you were going to be really close and you still hit the person?
I thought I could make it. I thought.
That's wild.
But no,
that's crazy.
No, you want to know what's really wild? You want to hear the worst part? I could have literally like bumped it like I did, and I could have backed up, and you wouldn't have been able to tell that there was any sort of crash.
So what'd you do? You didn't keep going, did you?
Yes. I wouldn't do it again, but like, yeah, I did. I don't know what. I don't know. It was I'm not a good multitasker.
So the talking on the phone.
I was already talking to my dad. And like, yeah, because one time I was in the car with Melissa and she was telling me to turn left, but I already knew I was supposed to turn left. But for some reason, both of them telling me that at the same time, like the math in her threw me off, and I went straight almost through a red light because there were too many inputs at the same time. So I couldn't do it. And so when I was talking to my dad, I was like, oh, nudge the car, like, whoops. And then for some reason, instead of reversing, I just
nailed.
I didn't floor it, but like I definitely pressed the, who's that?
Yo.
What's up?
What's happening?
Is this mid?
Yeah, you want to jump in the podcast?
It is mid-podcast.
You'll say hi to everybody?
What's up, guys?
Where are you going?
I'm coming here to grab athletic tape.
Nice.
Nice.
Jiu-jitsu.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, fun.
Big time.
What's the name of this podcast?
The Hear Me Out podcast?
Hear me out.
Hear me out?
Heck
Yeah.
Wow, look at you guys.
Gonna be a guest sometime?
Fancy, huh?
Jumping on sometime?
Hit me up, dude.
All right.
Awesome.
We will.
Good guest spot.
Take it easy.
Man, we got to get a third mic so
We
we
do.
can get
We
some
really
guests
do.
on here.
I think Gillum is going to be our first guest potentially next week.
Ah.
Maybe, right?
Yes, indeed.
Next week or the week after. You might see Coach Gillum of the Savannah Bananas.
Hang on. I need to say like 2 more things on this. Maybe I don't. I'm going to leave it at that. And if people want to,
forget what we were talking about.
If people want to learn more about peripersonal space,
how could I forget?
And body schema, I will explain more. But I wanted to get the Cliff Notes version because you don't like it.
No, I do like it. I think it's fascinating.
I don't believe you. But anyway, I did floor it, and I like.
No, it's good.
And I made it a lot. I just
let us know, Steve and Shepard, if
you want to know more, I have more.
If you enjoyed that segment.
Also, this is what I was gonna say because I was gonna slam my dad again. So I was on the phone with him still.
Yeah.
He was like, "What's it look like?" And I was like, "It's like a paint transfer," which it was. It was worse on Goldie than it was that car. And for those who don't know,
that's the nice thing about having a bright car.
Yeah. For those who don't know, my car's name is Goldie Honda. So when I refer to Goldie, I'm not talking about a person or a dog. I'm talking about my car. so anyway.
Goldie's hair was on the side of my car.
He was like, drive away. He was like, you got to get away right now. And I was like, I can't do that. He was like, how
Could you see it on the other car?
Yeah, it was just like I said, paint transfer.
Your paint on their car.
Yeah. She had a white car. My car's gold.
Oh.
Yeah. So anyway, for a second, He's like the little devil on your shoulder that you see in cartoons. And he was like, drive away right now. Like, drive away. It's going to, like, raise your insurance. Drive away. And so, panicking, I almost took a lap and parked in a different spot. And I was like, I just can't have this on my conscience for the rest of my life.
Right.
I'm going to feel like a terror. I am a rule follower for the most part. Right. And I was like, I can't do that. So I put my car right back next to her, put a note on her windshield.
Nice.
And I was like, hey, man, like, I can't wait around for you, essentially, because I have classes, but give me a ring. She called me at, like, 11 p.m., answered, unknown caller, and I was like, it's probably that girl. And we were like, we would love to just pay in cash. And so, like, we fixed everything, but she was not a pleasant person.
Really?
I was like, I
could have just drove away and never talked to you
I did
ever
everything.
again.
Yeah, we have hit and runs all the time.
Oh, I'm sure.
And also, we have a lot of dented vehicles in that parking garage.
Yeah.
For that very reason.
Right.
So I was like, I was just trying to be nice to you, but...
That's crazy that they'd get mad about that.
I know. Anyway.
The only time I ever hit a car, it was my mom's car, and I was backing up.
Your car hit your mom's car? Or
yeah.
Okay.
I was backing up, not even looking, and she was behind me, and I just tapped it, and her paint came onto my car, but my car did nothing to her car.
See, my dad can, like, if he were to hit anything in his giant truck, I'm sure it would do nothing to him.
Yeah.
Or, like, my brother, who, like, has installed these crazy heavy bumpers on either side.
Yeah.
Like,
That's one of the nice parts about it.
Yeah.
Or the people with, like, the ginormous spikes on the tires. You ever see those things?
They scare me a little bit. It's excessive,
but...
Yeah.
It would keep you away from anyone else, that's for sure.
It does indeed.
So we just got back from Thanksgiving.
Yes.
What'd you do?
Sort of. Well, when was Thanksgiving?
I guess we got back on... Monday. Yeah, we came... First day of work. No, we had Monday off. Wait a minute.
That was last week. It's been a week, yeah? What day is it?
What day did the last episode go out? Thursday.
I don't know.
Were we back? Oh, we were back whenever that first episode came out. So actually 2 weeks ago, we got back from Thanksgiving.
But clearly we haven't discussed it.
We haven't discussed a lot of things, apparently.
My Thanksgiving is great. The football story that I told earlier, that was part of my Thanksgiving.
So your finger still hurts from that?
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's not broken, is it? Can you move it?
I can't.
Which finger is it?
This one. And when it first happened, I could bend it like,
all right, so it's
like that much. But I can't bend the tip of it anymore, which isn't like super important to me. But I would like to know why.
Stove fingers just suck. I used to do it all the time snowboarding, where I'd like stove my wrist or stove my fingers, and it was just awful.
Unfortunate.
But
did you say stove?
Stove, like you stove your finger.
Another word.
What do you say?
That. Jammed.
Jammed? I thought you were going to say stubbed or something.
No, like when you jam a finger.
No. That's that one I'm going to stand by. Last one, everyone agreed with you on the gravel thing, except for a couple people who transferred over to my side. But
yeah,
I stoved a finger.
All right.
You've never heard that one?
No.
That's insane. Stoved is 100% what I'm standing by, and I'm not going to change my mind on.
Stoved.
What do you jammed? Like jammed would be like you put your finger into a jar.
This one's got to be like a regional thing. Look,
that might have been the dumbest thing I've ever
jammed,
said.
Jammed, stoved, stubbed, but they all describe a finger sprain. So
that's crazy that you say jammed. Though.
It's got to be regional, right?
It must be.
Odd. Well, at least we got that out.
Have you ever heard stoved?
No,
Ever.
not once in my life. That's
crazy. So weird. We probably say a bunch of words different.
We probably do.
Crick or creek?
Creek.
Never crick?
No.
You go.
Although
I usually say creek too, because you go creaking, but.
Crick is like from where I'm from in Georgia.
Do we have a whiteboard?
Some people might say.
All right, we're back.
Hang on. I have to reset my timer. So
reset that timer. So we just restarted all the cameras because we're not going to have an instance where you guys don't get every bit of what we talk about this week. Except for the segment that we just cut because it wasn't worth it.
We got a little off topic for Thanksgiving.
A little off topic. I still can't believe I don't remember what we were arguing about actually. Back on Thanksgiving.
You first. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. We host every year. So we had 15 to 20 people at our house. I can't remember the exact number.
Probably had about the same number at my grandma's.
Which is great. I honestly like Thanksgiving better than Christmas for that reason. Everyone comes home.
Mine does too. Why? Just because everyone's there?
All my uncles and stuff don't come for Christmas because they're with their own families.
Yeah.
It's like, on Christmas, you want to be in your house. You know what I mean?
See, I guess I'm lucky because, really, we're just an hour and a half from where my grandma is.
Nice.
Didn't used to be that way. She used to be across many states, but now she's, in Atlanta-ish. And so, we can just go down there and everybody else just kind of, congregates. So I see them both holidays.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Everyone has to, I think, honestly, everyone's, 4 hours away. There's a couple people in Pittsburgh. A lot of people in Charlotte.
Yeah,
I'm down here. So it's like everyone comes up for Thanksgiving, but not everyone comes up for Christmas.
that's fair. That's a
What?
lot of traveling.
What'd you eat?
The classics. So we had, well, there was a few things that I couldn't identify and I got scared to eat. Like there was this like pea with like, you know, like sweet peas,
Yeah.
but it had like a relish or something. I
Oh.
don't know. I took a bite. It was fine, but it was like not what I was expecting.
Right.
It was like sauerkraut.
Was it like a green bean casserole for
No, it was like cold.
peas?
I have no idea what it was. I took one bite and I was like, that is just an interesting flavor texture combo.
Right.
But then we had we didn't have mashed potatoes. Yes, we did. No, we didn't.
Did you eat your mashed potatoes? Oh, I have to have mashed potatoes is my favorite part of Thanksgiving.
We had scallop potatoes.
Scallop
But
potatoes.
that's what they said they were, but they were in mashed potato form. It was just chunkier.
Are they different colors?
No, it had cheese on top though.
Mm.
Like it's like a crusted cheese thing. Bread rolls. Don't like green bean
Turkey or ham?
casserole. They had both, but I
Okay.
don't like ham,
It's fair.
so I had turkey. And then
You guys won't believe this. All right. She comes into the office the other day, and she admits this, thinking it's completely normal.
yeah, because everybody was saying how
She
they
goes-
like to eat their turkey.
She goes, "No, I didn't have gravy." And we're like, "Really? What'd you have?" And the next thing that came out of her mouth, I think, was then the talk of the town for the rest of the day. But she puts ketchup on her turkey.
And then I thought
Ketchup.
surely people put it on rotisserie chicken. Also not the case. Like,
I understand rotisserie
wait.
chicken more than I do turkey.
can
I will
ask
say.
you, can I ask you another question?
Yeah.
Say you have like
I think you need to defend yourself.
say you have a really mild like white fish. Ketchup on your fish? Maybe
This is where I kind of agree with you.
like baked.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
I would put ketchup on fish,
Okay.
which I will say, but lemon before ketchup.
I won't do both.
No, I won't do both either. But I have put ketchup on fish, which I know is like a sin.
Is it?
Yeah, big time. Big time. It's not as bad as turkey, in my opinion.
Okay.
But putting
Do you think I could
putting
find
ketchup
a
on
do you
your
think I
turkey.
could find a statistic of how many people put ketchup on
Yeah.
turkey?
Google that.
I got it. Let me defend myself.
It's gonna be a low number. My brother does it too, and every year my grandma makes fun of him because he
Really?
deserves it.
People put
Why do you like ketchup on turkey?
I don't like gravy, but it needs, it needs something, a splash of color, perhaps. Ketchup has a lot of color to it,
If you find
And
a
it's-
stat with this,
and it's
crazy.
red, so it's just about how many people use
Yeah.
ketchup. It doesn't have anything about ketchup on turkey.
Yeah.
I will find it for the next podcast, but gravy is gross. Like the whole southern like gravy and biscuits thing, can't get behind it.
You don't like biscuits and gravy for breakfast? Little bit of chunks of meat in there.
Let me tell you another secret about the way that I eat things.
Uh huh.
I have basically the exact same breakfast every morning.
What is it?
It's usually you have to have like a texture ratio for things to be good. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Like you can't. Okay, so like banana and mayonnaise sandwiches, texture ratio is off.
Banana and mayo sandwiches?
I've never had one.
Why would that even
It's
be a thought that came across your head?
When I worked at Babyland, there's this old lady.
Banana
there.
and mayo?
Yeah, she'd eat that every
That
lunch.
is the most disgusting thing I've ever
My
heard in my
dad
entire
ate it
life.
when he was a kid. It must be a southern thing, and I was like,
And mayo?
yes.
That is just
I'm gonna show you a picture.
mind blowing.
I'm gonna show you a picture.
I've had peanut butter banana sandwiches, which are excellent, I will say.
Look.
I don't know
Look
if you're
at
gonna find a
these.
picture of this.
Yeah.
That is just not. That's just feral.
People make stuff. It's just feral. People make stuff like that. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Doesn't that just make
Do you
your
toast the
skin
bread
crawl?
before you make this, or is it just like?
I don't know. I've never had it. I can't do it. I don't like mayonnaise anyway. But no, listen. So there has to be the appropriate textures in something
Okay.
for me to enjoy eating it.
Right.
It's
Would
not
you
that
eat a
I-
banana, peanut butter banana sandwich?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
It's too squishy. There's too much.
Okay.
There's too much.
What about a
squish-
ham sandwich?
Depends on if it's just like soft bread.
I guess you don't like ham.
No. If it's just soft bread and then like soft like meat,
Yeah.
no. It's got to have like
Interesting.
some sort of like crunch to it, so it's not just like baby food.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you?
No.
So for breakfast, I can do like granola with like a little bit of yogurt, but
Okay.
it can't be more yogurt than granola.
I understand that one.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you're gonna get like a mouthful of something that kind of looks like pudding, but
I
it's
agree.
not, and it's like
Yeah. And whenever I eat that combo, I am not as satisfied when there's too much yogurt.
yeah.
So I agree.
You gotta have like the
Yeah.
crunch to it.
I agree.
And then sometimes if I'm feeling fancy, grapes go in it.
So no peanut
or
butter and jelly
apples go in
sandwiches?
it. I can do that,
Okay.
but there has to be an incredibly thin layer of jelly.
Okay.
Like I don't I don't like it.
Okay.
And there also has to be a really thin layer of peanut butter. So really at the end of the day, there's not a lot of substance on those sandwiches for me.
Just bread
It's
with a little flavor on it.
but the bread can't be too thick. Like it can't. I can eat these things, right? And I'll be fine. I'll survive it. Well, not if there's too much jelly. That
How
gets
have you
wiped out.
survived tour?
That gets wiped up. But no, like I can definitely eat things that aren't with those ratios.
Right.
Speaking of ratios, I have another ratio thing that I want to talk
Did you get
about.
ratioed?
With no. I have another ratio thing I want to talk about clothing wise.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Big time.
But I can definitely eat other. It's just like, do I prefer it that way? Definitely not.
Yeah.
Will I enjoy eating it? Probably not.
Fair.
But like, so that's all right. So that's one thing.
Yeah.
And then usually for dinner, Melissa's seen this go down.
Uh-huh.
I will typically just do like, it's like a snack plate. So it's like a bunch of raw vegetables. You get hummus.
Okay.
You get chicken.
Make yourself a little charcuterie board for bed.
Pretty much, yeah.
Respect.
Because I don't like, like boiling water, awful. It's just not a fun experience.
No,
for
I
me.
agree with that. I can't stand making like pasta and stuff and having to boil water and wait
just-
for it. And
You're like hovering over it.
Yeah.
You're like waiting for
And
it.
it
And it
takes
just doesn't
forever.
boil. And yeah, one time I swear, and I don't think it's possible that it happened, but one time I swear it never boiled, but the water evaporated. And I feel like
the whole thing, you filled up a gallon of water and
It
you're
was
just like, you're sitting there staring and bam, water gone.
it was like that. And I was like, that's not possible. So I'm just
How much
wondering-
water did you put in?
I don't know.
Did you just put in like enough to cover the surface of the...
I don't know because I usually, you fill the pot up.
Right.
You get a little bit of space because, you don't want it to like, you don't want the water spill over when you put pasta.
Which is
or
also
rice or
another
whatever
reason
in.
I don't like making pasta, because you got to sit there and you watch it. You have to watch it.
It bubbles up sometimes.
It's like one of those things like they
It's
tell you
starchy.
not to look at a clock because it's going to take extra long.
It's going to stick to the pan if you don't stir it.
Yeah. You have to watch water boil and it takes forever.
Exactly. It's such a time waster.
It is.
I just
Big
can't
time
do
waster.
it. but I'll usually have that exact same dinner, put a little bit of crackers on the plate.
Okay.
Usually I eat
A couple grapes maybe. Strawberries.
it would mesh with the other.
Okay.
It would mesh a little bit,
Yeah.
I'd put it to the side,
Uh-huh.
and like if it got a little hummus on it, that's fine.
Right.
But like, am I gonna douse it in hummus? Definitely not.
Fair enough.
And then lunch is typically the same thing too, except when I don't have food like I do now at my house. Not a lot of options, so
Yeah,
I've
right.
been branching out, expanding my horizons.
Nice.
But yeah, ketchup on turkey, like you just like you look at a piece of turkey, colorless. Like there's nothing on that.
As
thing.
it should be.
Like-
If you look at turkey and it's not colorless, then something's wrong with that turkey.
Well, you can put like a little.
Including ketchup.
You can put like a little like herb crust. Herb.
All right.
How do you pronounce that?
Herb.
Herb.
Yeah.
I did too, but then somebody said it was herb, and now I've been questioning
No,
it ever
it's a
since.
silent H.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've just been scared to say that word for
It's like
months.
Hebrew.
And I definitely it's like, what?
Like Hebrew.
I don't know what that
Like
is.
the language. I'm kidding. Hebrew. I'm just kidding.
I would have walked out of here today.
I'm just kidding.
That would have been the first thing I Googled when I got home. Anyway,
Oh,
enough
shoot.
about the ketchup conversation. I want to talk about
Oh,
oh my gosh.
I'm going to drink a caffeine before every podcast. This is...
A caffeine.
I'm wide awake.
I want to talk about clothing ratio for peak comfort
Yeah,
levels,
right.
and I'm working on this name because clothing ratio doesn't sound like what I want it to sound like. for as far as like what it
I was
is.
gonna say we had two completely
different-
different ideas about what this conversation is gonna entail.
We did. We had two different ideas, and I just kind of explain what you think it is first, and then I'll go into mine.
When I hear clothing ratio, I think of like I wear long pants and then I wear a short sleeve shirt. And if I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt, I'm wearing shorts. Wow. That was a tongue twister.
So basically, like for you mean like there always needs to be some sort of exposed
Right.
skin
I'm
somewhere.
going to wear ankle socks if I'm wearing shorts. If I'm wearing jeans, then I could wear crew socks.
Is this mostly for like aesthetic purposes?
For sure. And comfort. Like I'll be sitting like today I had a sweatshirt and long pants on in the office.
Yeah.
Started to get warm. And as soon as I start getting warm, then I'm uncomfortable. And then I'm uncomfortable that I'm wearing a sweatshirt with long pants. Because if I was wearing a sweatshirt with shorts and I was sweating a little bit, big whoop, you have shorts on, it's going to be okay. But if you have long pants, you have a long sleeve shirt, or a sweatshirt, there's no room for breathing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because you can always like, I would rather be really cold than really warm. So if I can like strip down layers or wear like thinner clothing, like
Right.
I'm going to be more comfortable.
Right, I totally agree.
Let me tell you about
Hit me.
how I feel. So I think of, and I was trying to explain this in the car to Melissa. This is when we were on the way to ghost hunting the other day. This podcast is all over the place.
All of our podcasts will be all over the place.
Yeah,
So.
last one was pretty directed, I think.
Yeah.
We tried our best anyway.
Uh-huh.
But I was mostly just talking at her until she started explaining the same thing that you were saying. Like, I just didn't, clothing ratio is not the right word for this. There's probably a term for it. There probably isn't. But but basically, do you ever just become like hyper aware of how your clothing feels on you?
Yeah, for sure.
So it's
especially
like,
whenever it's staticky. That's the worst.
can I tell you, since you said static, I'll get right back to clothing ratio, I promise. But have you ever
What was that?
I was trying not to laugh. It's not funny. It's not even funny. It was just this.
If this isn't funny at all, everyone's going to look at you
It's not
like
funny.
you're the craziest person in the world.
When I was little, I think I had like.
Like how little? 2'3", 2'4".
Oh. I don't know when I reached my
kidding.
maximum height. And so.
Did you max out at like 3.5?
What does that even mean?
3'5". How tall are you? I know you're a lot taller than 3 foot, but
You
what are
said
you, like
inches.
5?
You-
3'5" inches.
In my mind, I was like this tall. Okay, so
Oh man.
I'm 5'5", but most people wouldn't know it because
Are you crying right now?
Yes. Most people wouldn't know it.
You're 5'5".
Yeah.
Okay, I'd say you were taller than that, to be honest. I thought you were
Really?
like 5'6", 5'7".
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How tall are you?
5'9.5".
Okay, cool.
Gotta get that half inch there because my twin brother, who has always been taller than me my entire life, is 5'9".
See, I I don't know why, but usually when I picture myself sitting next to you, I feel like we're like eye level.
Well, we're not.
I don't know why.
We're
I
not.
always-
We're just not.
I
I will pride myself in my extra 3 inches that I have on you.
I just always thought, but don't take it personally. Because listen, I was standing next to.
That laugh was insane.
I was standing next to Evan, and for those of you who don't know, he's one of. I'm just gonna name drop everybody in the office.
Do it.
I was standing next to him. I guess last week maybe, and I didn't have my shoes on. Like I was just walking around in my socks, and he's 6 feet tall, and I.
Evan is 6 foot tall?
Yes.
That's
He's
insane. I didn't know that.
What would you have thought?
5'10".
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
I guess it's only 2 inches. But
never in my
nah.
life.
Are you sure he's not like, you know how
He
like when
told
people
me
join a
6
dating
feet.
app, and they're like, yeah, I'm 6 foot, but really they're like 5'2".
What does Evan have to gain by lying to me?
That now you think he's 6 foot, and now we're telling our podcast viewers that he's 6 foot.
I feel like most people know my weakness is I'm not good with numbers. So if you told me that you were shorter, taller, I
I'm
would have
6'2".
believed you. Well, I don't believe you anymore, but but basically, I don't know where we started with this clothing ratio.
Yeah, but you were going somewhere
I
else
was
with
going
it.
somewhere else with it.
I don't know where you're going with it, though.
We got
static.
I was little.
Yeah.
I was maybe like 6,
Okay.
5 or 6, maybe 7.
Okay.
There's a range there. For
Yeah, there sure is.
Picture me whatever age you would like between those 3 numbers. But I was getting into my bed, and it was dark, and I was like tucking my legs in, and I could see the static.
Yes.
And I thought I was going to catch flame because I didn't know what it was. I was probably 5. I'm going to be honest. I don't think 7-year-old me would have thought that. Maybe. But I thought I was going to catch flame. And for a really long time, I was, first of all, scared to move in my bed because of the static.
Right.
And I was scared to look under there because I knew if I looked under there, I would see sparks that would potentially create a flame. And I thought it would be better if I didn't see
Just
it
your
happen.
parents?
Huh?
Just your parents about it?
No, I don't think so.
Just dealt with it?
I think I was just like, it's something I can figure out on
Right.
my own.
Something you got to deal with and figure it
I
out.
wasn't sure if I was going to believe their answers.
Fair.
Because sometimes parents are like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
But what if it's not?
It's true.
That was like my dad telling me to drive away from that car.
Right.
Can't always trust those guys.
Jeez.
But anyway, clothing ratio. So, like, for example, when I'll just use these shoes as an example. We saw a movie last night, we saw the new Hunger Games movie. Really long movie.
Let's talk about that afterwards. Yeah.
Okay. Really long movie. And sometimes, do you ever just become, like, aware of where your foot is in your shoe? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, like, for me, if my feet are bordering on the inner corners,
Yeah.
irritates me really badly.
Oh, I don't think about it
And
that much. I mean, like, if I'm like, yeah, where's my toe at right now? I know it's not at the very end of my shoe, but.
No, we had time to sit there, and I was, like, readjusting myself.
Uh-huh.
Long movie. This is not as close as I would like it to be.
Her little Sherwin-Williams bucket.
But anyway, I'll feel that the outside corners of my shoe are they're too far away from my heels, and I feel like I need to put them back there where the inside of my foot is no longer bordering on the inner corners of my shoe.
Yeah, I completely lost you.
I did a bad job explaining. So basically, shoes are designed where or these anyway, supports your arch or whatever.
Sure.
So your foot naturally curves to this inner
Right.
part, but
naturally.
this outside is where I want my foot to be. But
Okay.
in the shoe, the way it's designed, the way all shoes are designed, your foot's never going to be on that side. It's going to be on this inside part. So my feet right now are more inside than they are outside.
This is a crazy thought.
But it's tighter there, right? And there's a lot of space in these shoes. I can slip them on and off.
I feel like I can feel both sides of my shoes right now.
You can feel both sides, but I can feel the inside more than the outside.
That's crazy. Because I can't.
Yeah. So basically, if I'm sitting, the most comfortable thing for me to do, well, if I'm noticing it, the most comfortable thing is if you shift your feet this way, it gives, for the people who can't see, I'm putting my outer part of my shoes on the ground, so the inside is facing up. But
I'm so lost and I'm watching it.
It's like you're bending both of your ankles
Right.
outward, and then your inside of your foot isn't touching the inside of the
Sure.
shoe as much, so it feels better. You don't relate to this.
Nope.
So when I talk about clothing ratio, it's my perfect shoe ratio
Yeah.
would be where my feet are resting on the outside edges of my shoe and not the inside.
Maybe Zappos can figure you out for you.
Maybe. Or seams on socks. That was a big one for me when I was little.
Seams on socks.
That bothered me. Yeah, the fancier dress socks, and they have that stitch that goes across your toes.
Yeah.
Can't do them.
That's fair. I understand that one.
Yeah, that used to irritate me. But then we get on to other articles of clothing.
Uh-huh.
Jeans, hate them. No offense.
You never wear jeans?
I have jeans. I'll wear them if I have to. They're looser. I can't
Okay.
wear jeans that are actually fitted.
Yeah.
There's no movement. So in these pants,
See, that's what I like.
if I wanted to bend my leg at a 90, I could. Or if I wanted to just go all the way up, that's okay, but that cannot be comfortable. You can feel the crinkle of the fabric when this is my leg is free in this.
Okay.
No? Would you say that jeans are as comfortable as sweatpants?
No. I agree with that part.
Okay. But
I somewhat see where you're going.
But
with
like
this.
the firmness of the material doesn't bother you?
I mean, I'd rather not sleep in jeans.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
But
like
I have.
But you consider that like comfortable
right now, yeah.
Really?
Mhm. If I was gonna, yeah, I do. I don't know why. I do see your point though. If like I was going on an airplane for a long time, I'd rather wear shorts.
Yeah, it's like if you're, or like the people who like wear their full like business attire on the plane.
Right.
Yeah.
They're just crazy.
Yeah, that's insane. That's like criminal behavior.
Do you know that's how people used to travel? Everyone used to dress up to go on airplanes.
You might want to check the cameras.
Oh shoot.
Okay. Just like one last thing about clothing
Yeah,
ratio.
go for it.
Then we can move on.
Of course.
I don't really know where we left off, but
I don't either.
I was just thinking if we ever have, no, I'm not gonna talk about that. No, I need to. If we ever have like commercial breaks, like stuff you should know.
Yeah.
Those little camera cuts, perfect time.
Oh, perfect time.
We'll only have like 2
Whenever
of them.
maybe.
And then we'll tell you guys ahead of time that you can like skip forward like 4 of the 15-second thingies, and then you should be back to us. But if you want to,
I feel like that's how we don't get sponsorship dollars then.
I'm sorry. Ignore that.
Ghost Energy. No, just kidding. If
Okay.
you guys, if any caffeine company who has an energy
Okay.
drink would like
All
to come
right.
to us, we're not going to specifically reach out because we don't want to be beggars.
I feel like this is baking.
We don't need your money. But if you'd like to give us money to turn this can around, then I would.
So clothing ratio. So another thing that is kind of irritating.
Yeah.
And this is more just like, it's not even so much like ratio. I think it's more like, what should we call it? Like, there's got to be like,
Clothing.
there's got to be 2 like concise words that can sum up this topic.
Clothing material.
Is it material though?
No. Well, kind of.
Partially. What's your go-to clothing material? Like, what do you like to wear?
If I'm just hanging out with friends, it's shorts and a sweatshirt.
But like, what
Or
is
shorts and a long shirt, sleeve
What
shirt.
is it made of? Is it
Cotton.
polyester or is it cotton? I mean,
Cotton shirt.
Yeah.
I don't care about the shorts. Whatever for the shorts. But
Really?
It like
See, like even this, I don't like. I'd rather this be cotton too.
see the banana ones that we have
Yeah.
with the liner inside. I love those ones. I'll
Really?
wear those every day if I could.
I just like cotton. Just has like it's just nice. It
Yeah.
just feels nice. Not all kinds of cotton. Like some cotton is kind of rough.
Yeah.
Like if it's like a cheaper shirt.
That's fair.
But
I really like comfort colors. That's
too.
my favorite.
it's kind of
Comfort
hot
colors.
in the summer. But like I do,
Yeah, I agree
I
with
do
that.
like it because I like heavier material.
It does suck when we're on tour and it's like 95 degrees and all your laptop dead. Or turned off.
No.
And all that you can wear. Yeah. And then in the summer I'm like dry fit pretty much all the way, but
See, I don't like dry fit. And it's like it's
No.
what we wear for work and everything, but
Yeah.
like there's something about the feeling of it that I just don't
it
like.
just absorbs sweat so nice.
And I also have like the women's cut, and I don't like the
That's
way
fair.
women's cut sleeves are.
Yeah.
Because I like my sleeve to go all the way around equally down the side of my arm.
Yeah.
But women's cut is kind of like this triangular shape, and it just like doesn't.
Interesting.
It's too close to my skin. I think is what I don't like.
Yeah.
I need things to be like loose on me to
That's
some
fair.
extent.
I can't stand tight shirts at all.
I can't
just
do
won't
tight.
I just won't ever wear a tight shirt.
Me neither. Yeah, it's just not a good time.
Uh-uh.
But like if I have if I have a loose shirt on,
Yeah.
and then I get all of my shirts bigger than what they're supposed to fit as,
Yeah.
and I get all of my jackets bigger than what they're supposed to fit as.
Yeah.
So they fit over things, so it's still loose. But every now and again, and this is what brought up the whole conversation when I was driving to the ghost tour with Melissa, is I'll wear something that would be loose on its own, but it's, are you good?
Yeah, I thought I spilled water. I'm good.
But I like, with the clothing I have on, it's like you can feel the layers
Yeah.
and like where it's touching. And so if this
fair.
sleeve were like semi caught up in my sweatshirt and you can feel it like get caught up,
Yeah.
like that's
That annoys
enough.
you?
Yeah.
Interesting. See, as long as people can't see it, it doesn't bother me at all.
So if your
I can't
sleeve
stand
is,
tight
like-
shirts, but I don't. If it's under a sweatshirt, then I know people can't see it. It's not gonna like take any headspace.
See, like the feeling is just like
Interesting.
like I pull down collars, like I just don't want it around like
Yeah.
I guess all the parts of me that move.
It's fair. I get that.
So I think it's more
Respect
like that's where the clothing ratio comes in. So if you're layering off of things,
Yeah.
like those things need to layer correctly where they don't
But
necessarily
it's clothing
like,
layers.
But it's not always layers. Because what do you call the whole foot thing? Well, it's a layer. It's a shoe on top of a sock, so that's layering.
2 layers.
But you can't really change the shoe shape.
True.
I need to become a
Just get
shoemaker.
custom shoes.
I need to become a shoemaker. Is what I need.
I think that should be your next profession.
Yeah. Out of the 20 or so.
Right.
Some of those were the same. Some of my jobs were the same. So it's not a bunch of separate professions, but there were a lot of them.
Jump into this movie.
Yeah. We can't give away too many spoilers.
We won't give away spoilers. The new Hunger Games movie is out, obviously. We won't spoil anything.
Songbirds and Snakes. Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
I couldn't even tell you.
I don't know. It's got songbirds and snakes.
Out of 10, what would you rate it?
Well, I didn't like go back and rewatch the original Hunger Games or anything
I didn't
like
either.
that.
Not before.
So like if I'm comparing it with them, like there's not much for me to compare it to.
Yeah.
By itself, I didn't hate the movie.
Okay.
But it was long. So
Very
I'm
long.
going to go I'll be a little generous. Say like 6.2 out of 10.
Okay.
Cuz I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Would I watch it again? Probably not.
Okay. I haven't been to a movie theater in like
It's been a while for me,
long
too.
time.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I technically went to see the Taylor Swift film, which was dragged into that. I would not have gone.
Not on you.
Not on me.
Yeah.
But being in a movie theater is just so fun. But if I hadn't been watching that movie in a movie theater, I would have stopped halfway through. If I would have made it halfway.
Really?
I'd say like 3 out of 10. I feel like they made a movie,
Yeah.
made a bunch of callbacks to the originals. Like the whole
caught a few
calling
of 'em.
something a Katniss. Like that plant a Katniss.
I didn't like that part.
Or
It
again,
felt corny.
don't want to spoil anything, but like just like those callbacks.
But I think I can say this. I think I can say this about Snow. Everyone knows that Snow turns out to be a really bad guy.
Yeah,
I think.
he does. Yeah.
He's like the whole reason why Hunger Games continue on.
Right.
So like I just kept finding myself forgetting that he was bad for like the first part of the movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I'm rooting for this guy. Like he's gonna turn out to be such a nice young lad. And
I thought the same thing about Ted Bundy.
He's gonna like it. Wait, we do have to address that because that is insane. Ian watched the Ted Bundy. What is it?
Listen, it was an
You watched the one with Zac Efron.
Zac Efron, good guy. I'm scrolling through Netflix one night. I'm like, I need a movie to watch. What am I gonna watch?
So that's a series, right?
Ted Bundy
or
comes
is it
up.
is
Just
it
a
one
movie.
movie? Is
It's
it
like
actually?
2.5 hours. Great movie. Very well done.
Was it? What is it called? Extremely vile and incredibly wicked, or
No, I feel like the title wasn't like giving it away. I think it was like Ted Bundy, the mystery, or the
I don't
something.
think that's
I don't
it.
even know.
Hang on, you
Yeah.
keep talking about your experience with that, and
So-
I'll look it up.
I'm laying there. I need a movie to watch, and Ted Bundy, the film comes up, the documentary or whatever. It wasn't a documentary. I guess it was like the movie of Ted Bundy, and
Extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile, and you were rooting for him.
is that the one with Zac
yes,
Efron?
That is the name of the movie.
All right, whatever.
I've seen it too.
I don't think that's what it was titled at the time. Maybe it was. But I'm watching this movie, and the whole time, if you don't know who he is, they're not saying he did it, right? They're showing like the media stuff. They're showing, and I thought he was innocent the whole time. So I'm like cheering this dude on.
Can I
I'm
ask
like,
you a question?
Beat the media
really quickly.
Yeah, go for it.
Had you heard of him before?
No, never in my life
Which
have I
is-
heard of Ted Bundy.
Which is just crazy because
Yeah.
that's like a really prolific
I know.
serial killer.
Whenever he admitted it in the prison cell at the very end of the movie, my jaw dropped. And I was like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. I put so much effort into supporting this dude throughout the 2-hour movie just for him to betray me like that. I was like,
It's not-
I'm emotionally connected to this dude's success at this point. And he's going to just at the very end of the movie. And then it goes to
You
credits.
know,
Just be like,
Everyone
I did
said
it.
that he was a very charming person, and nobody really
Zac
would
Efron?
have suspected. Yeah,
Portrayed that.
but like, yeah, but that's just like that's so crazy to me that you just didn't know.
It's not one of my
But now
proudest
you,
moments.
but now you do. But now
Yeah.
you do.
Now I know.
Man, I'm kind of scared
What a
for you
jerk.
because if somebody asked you to like say like, hey man, I need help putting this in the trunk of my car.
Yeah.
Can you
we
help
had,
me?
we had a shooting outside our house the first week we moved to Savannah.
Yeah.
And we were playing cards. We were just chilling. And there was, like, I guess the gang came out. I don't know what they were. I'm just going to say gang because there was a shootout. They were all on the porch of our neighbor's house. And I'm from rural Pennsylvania. Like, I don't see a bunch of people coming out of nowhere
No, I
all
can
meeting up on a
understand
porch in the middle of a city. So I'm like looking out the window. I'm like, what's going on? Like, are they grilling? Like, is it a party? Like, I want to see what's happening at my neighbor's house.
Yeah.
And then they started shooting. But I wasn't watching when they started shooting, so I thought someone was at our door.
Yeah.
And I thought someone was slamming on our door. So I got up to go answer it. And all of my roommates at the exact same time yelled at me so loud to sit back down. And I was like, why? Someone needs help. And they're like, we're not opening that door. And I was like, oh. And then it hit me like, I should probably just pretend like we're not here.
You know what's crazy? It's not even crazy. I know exactly. Of everyone in our office, you would be the first person to die in a horror movie.
I feel like I've learned. I feel like I'm good now.
Maybe. I also, another secret about Ian, he didn't know who Phil Collins was.
Yeah, that was a tough one too. A little uncultured, I guess, sometimes, but
No, I get that. I am on a lot of things, but not that.
yeah.
I think half the time when you get called out for stuff, I just get lucky that the topic isn't on something that I don't know. Because there's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hunger Games.
I'll own it. Oh yeah.
So
Hunger
basically,
Games, 3 out of 10 for me, but
yeah, I'm gonna go higher because I did enjoy it. There was a lot of stuff in there that I didn't think was necessary to the movie, so it like lengthened it
yeah.
unnecessarily. Like I didn't expect there to be 3 parts. The black text
Yeah,
would come
that
on
was
the screen.
interesting.
Part 1, I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then it would have been fine without it. Truly, they
Yeah,
didn't
for
have
sure.
to have those
No.
screens. Like
I agree
that
with
would have
that.
been. But part 2 came up, and I was like, oh, okay, 2 parts. That's enough for the movie. Part 3 came up. I was like, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I got to use the bathroom at one point. I was really hungry, and I wanted some popcorn. But I was like, this movie is probably going to end soon. So I Googled it and saw it was 2 hours and 35 minutes. And I was like, I'm
And
getting my popcorn
The
and
thing is,
sitting back down.
I knew that coming into it too. But
it was 2
I
hours
have
and-
I have a really poor perception of
Yeah.
time.
Also, 30
So-
minutes of ads before the movie starts. Insane.
But I enjoyed the ads. No, I didn't. There was this horror movie that came up. There was this horror movie that came up. What was that called?
I don't even remember.
There was like this little teddy bear, and it's like possessed or haunted or whatever.
Oh, the thing that was rolling towards the kid.
I can give
Yeah.
me any real life scenario that could happen, any of them, and I will
Just
be
say
fine.
you watch more
watching-
war movies than anyone I know.
They're great. I'm through that phase right now. I'm
Right.
currently watching Young Sheldon.
I love that show.
It's
That's
so
a
good.
Great
I've
show.
been trying to
I haven't
convince
seen it
myself-
enough to talk too much on it, but
I've
it's a
been-
great show.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I was trying to convince, and that's not my typical kind of show.
Yeah.
Like, as you've said, I watch a lot of darker shows.
Right.
And so, like, I was watching this, and I was like, this is like a nice little sitcom, and I can sit down and binge like 3 episodes at a time.
Yeah.
It only takes about an hour, and then I can go to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like a feel good. Like
It's a
you
feel-good
laugh and then you're like, all right, I'm ready for bed.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It's not like I just watched 12 men die in a war movie and now I gotta sleep on
But
it.
that doesn't really, like, I can sleep peacefully after that.
That's crazy.
And, like, they were, like, I can recommend a lot of good, like, the 2 war shows that were my favorite were
Uh-huh.
The Pacific and Band of Brothers.
I've seen the commercials for both of those ones.
Great shows.
Yeah.
Pacific is very graphic. Like, it's
Yeah.
tough. But it's cool because it's like, those kind of movies are, like, real stories.
Yeah,
They're
right.
history. I like learning, but I also don't want to sit in front of, like, a bunch of documentaries to learn that stuff.
Fair. What
So
do you think of
it's-
Saving Private Ryan?
It's been so long since I've seen it.
That one's graphic.
It's
I didn't
very-
realize. I started
Pacific
watching
is
it a couple weeks ago and I stopped.
Probably about that. It's been a very
Yeah.
very long time since I've seen it. It was on my list. I have like 10 more that I put on my Netflix list, and
Yeah.
then I never got to them because I went out of that phase. So,
Fair.
But I'm saving them for the next time I decide
Yeah,
to
right.
go onto a like war movie kick.
Yeah.
But I was watching that for a little bit, and then I was also watching. I watched the show with Tom Holland. It was about that. It's kind of
Spider-Man?
like no. I made it through those movies. The Crowded Room.
I
It
haven't
was
seen that one.
on Apple TV. It's like kind of, it's not like an old show, but it's not new anymore.
Right.
But basically, it's like loosely based on a true story. And it kind of like changed the way that people could declare, like, I guess, insanity for certain kinds of cases in
Sure.
the 70s. And it's definitely not super accurate to the actual story, but same premise.
Yeah.
So this guy has dissociative identity disorder, and basically means that your personality or like your brain is like split into different people.
Yeah.
So like you could end up in the back of your brain and a brand new personality, brand new name, everything comes out and you're different people. And you most
Interesting.
of the time won't have memory of that kind of stuff that happens, or at least in his case, he
Yeah.
didn't. In his case, he thought he knew all those people and that they were his friends, but in reality, it was just him the whole time. Which I don't know if that's, I don't know enough about it to be
Interesting.
like, oh, that's how it always is, because
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case.
Right.
Sometimes people definitely know that they have multiple personalities and that, like, other people will, like, front at times.
Yeah.
And then they may end up somewhere and they're like, I don't remember how I got here, but they know they have it.
But Fred got me.
Yeah, it's like,
That'd be crazy.
it's insane.
That'd
It
be
usually
insane.
it stems from like typically from like severe childhood trauma, and it's like
Oh.
your brain's way of protecting you. So it's like it's a way to block out or like compartmentalize
Interesting.
what happened.
Yeah.
And so you end up having, it's I think pretty rare, but like it ends up splitting up. So in his case, one of his personalities like shot a gun in an open space trying to shoot, I believe, his stepdad. It's been a while since I've seen it, but he genuinely thought it wasn't him. It was like his friend, like this friend that he thought, but
Interesting.
it was him.
Yeah, right.
And so he ended up meeting with a psychiatrist at the time, and she was doing some sort of like research on this specific disorder. And they were trying to get like when he was going to court and everything, because the whole time he's like imprisoned, like he's waiting for his court date.
Sure.
But she's trying to get like this insanity plea for him so he doesn't end up in a place that's going to end up hurting him more.
Right.
Because it wasn't his fault. So like
I'll have to watch that one.
It's a really interesting, and it's like it's a short series, so it's just like I think 8 to 10 episodes maybe. But like it's interesting, and I think they did change the way that you can actually like plea that, and it wasn't in the DSM-5 yet either. So like that big handbook that basically says like these are all the official mental disorders, and like this is like what qualifies a person to have this or whatever, like these are the symptoms. It wasn't in there as like an official disorder. So because they thought that he was just like lying because he didn't want to go to jail.
Yeah.
But it's a really good show.
I'll have to watch that one.
Mindhunter, good show.
Mindhunter. I've seen the previews for that one. I want to check these cameras one more
It's
time.
got King George in it.
King George.
You should have a little bit of time.
2 batteries. 2 batteries.
Nice.
2 minutes long.
Anyway, Hunger Games, okay movie.
Yeah, okay, maybe.
I'm gonna rewatch the
I
other
will
ones
say
now.
anything that they slap Hunger Games on, like it just didn't look like a Hunger Games movie.
It's kind of like what
all.
happened with the Harry Potter movies. I liked this one more than Fantastic Beasts.
This one
I'm a
being
huge Harry Potter person, so.
Fantastic Beast.
Yeah,
Wait, which
the
one's that?
newer Harry Potter ones that came
Oh,
out.
I've never seen those.
They're not great.
I feel like
It's-
any callbacks like that of any kind are just like not as good.
Yeah.
But like this Hunger Games movie was like supposed to be 60 years before the first Hunger Games, and the camera quality, like everything just looked so much more like, I don't know. I was trying to explain it to Kaz last night, and I just couldn't. Like it felt Disney to me.
Really?
The way the characters looked,
Really?
and like the cameras looked, it looked just so much more like high depth.
Well,
And I just like I couldn't get
these
past
were
that.
shot a
And
lot
I don't know.
later, so the camera is going to be better.
I think they should have
regardless.
like
gone with the same quality.
Yeah, 100%.
Huh.
I don't know how to explain it.
Was that like one of your biggest?
Yeah,
qualms
I
with
mean,
it?
it was one of my biggest problems just watching the trailer.
I just didn't like it when Snow just like he just kept staring at people, like his eyes were they
Yeah.
would do these
like-
really close up shots, and it's just like his eyes, and they would get an angle where you could see like the light blue part of it.
Yeah.
And it was like it looked robotic.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Right.
That's not his fault. It was the way they shot him. He is a normal looking guy, whoever this actor is.
Yeah.
But they would shoot him in these weird like close up whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's just staring at people.
Right.
It was weird.
I don't know. I felt like I could put myself in the shoes in the original like 3 movies of like whoever it was.
You know, the more I think about it, the more I don't think I've seen the third one.
The third one is Mockingjay Part 2.
No, I think I just saw part
Actually,
one.
that's the 4th one technically.
There's 4?
Mockingjay Part 1, Mockingjay Part 2.
Oh. Maybe I haven't seen 3 or 4. then.
Mockingjay Part 1 ends with PETA like strapped in the bed, and he's like freaking out. That's a scene I'll never be able to unsee. And then
I'll have to watch
the
those.
next one starts with that scene.
I remember him painting himself as a rock.
That's the first one.
Classic.
Yeah.
And I remember her getting like her like Katniss getting her bow and arrow in the state. Like the first one is really what I remember.
Have you seen the second one?
And then like the fire chariot.
That was in the second. No, that was in the first.
So maybe I don't
Actually,
remember the...
no, that might have been. No, I think that was the first as well. The second one, she shoots the arena.
Okay, yeah.
I won't say anything else about that one just in case people
I'll
haven't seen it.
rewatch
but
these and then we'll revisit.
Yeah.
The last thing on my topic list, well, besides ghost hunting, was rat intelligence.
Yes, you've been talking about this for a long time.
And I'm not gonna bore people with a bunch of random details because first of all, I don't have them pulled up, so there's only so much I can do here. The only thing I've pulled up on my computer right now are a bunch of things disproving ghosts and Zac Efron as Ted Bundy. So basically, man, I really didn't save anything. It's unfortunate. I read a bunch of articles, and let me tell you how this started.
Yeah.
I thought in my head, Yvonne turned to me and said something, because me and Yvonne are desk mates. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know if he thinks that, but I have a great time sitting next to him. But I thought he said something about starfish. He told me he didn't.
Okay.
So apparently I did.
You said something about starfish?
I think so.
It was probably you.
But I thought he said it first.
Knowing the two of you, it was definitely probably you.
I think he turned to me and he said something. And I think maybe he said something about his arm. And then maybe something about cutting off an arm came up.
And then you mentioned starfish.
But I don't know if that's what he said. It's just like the whole thing is really fuzzy how I got onto this rat intelligence thing.
Yeah.
But basically, I looked up starfish.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking up like how they reproduce and like, I don't know. I was just interested at that point because I thought he had brought it up.
Right.
Which he didn't. So maybe it was just my subconscious saying, "Hey,
Which
Katelyn,
she didn't.
Katelyn, look up an animal and just like pick one."
Right.
And Yvonne said arm, and starfish can sometimes, when they lose an arm or when they get cut in half, grow an entirely new one.
Yeah.
And because when I did mention that to him, he was like, "I don't know if that's always how it works, and there's other ways that can happen, but basically, like if you cut them up, you'll get more starfish."
Right.
And then I was like, I wonder if those starfish would be genetically identical. Yes, they would be, because it's the exact same.
Of course.
So it's like cloning. So I said, hey, Yvonne, like if we cut off your arm,
hypothetically,
if the conditions were right and it didn't get like infected, because sometimes that happens and it won't grow into a new starfish.
Sure.
You could have a clone of you, and then we got to like maybe 20 Yvonnes, and then he said he wouldn't want that. And then I was just thinking about, I guess, genetics. I'm not sure. Starfish. I was wondering if they felt pain.
Okay.
Because, if you cut off an arm, we would feel pain until you
that would hurt.
Everyone has like a pain threshold, I think, and at a certain point your body's just going to like shut down, you're going to go into shock and you're not going to feel anymore.
Right.
But in this case, I just wanted to know, like, would they kind of like hurt? Because like
now I'm just thinking of a saw just going right down my arm.
Plants can technically feel pain, but like they don't feel it. Like they don't have like any of the things they need, including a brain, to feel it. But they feel it somehow.
Yeah.
It's just not what we would think of as pain. They can't process that. And a lot of fish, they don't feel pain. Sharks don't feel pain, which is why sometimes if they have like a big chunk taken out of them by another shark, they can be swimming around. They're fine.
Yeah.
Like they don't feel that.
Right.
The way we would. So starfish have a nervous system, but they don't have a brain, which is interesting because like ours is connected with our brain. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
What about like a daddy long leg, when you pick the leg off the daddy long leg and it still moves?
I don't know.
Isn't that weird?
I mean, it's just a leg. I feel like you would.
But like the leg still moves on its own. It's completely disconnected from the body.
Isn't that just like the muscles kind of?
The nerves.
Because
it might be.
That's what happens with frog legs too.
You think that happened to our leg? Probably not. I will say, when you die.
Well, you get rigor mortis at a certain point.
I don't know what that is.
So basically, like, you just stiffen. So, like, you'll just end up in a position and you're very stiff and hard to move.
But you do move sometimes when you're dead, right?
I think.
Because of the nerves.
Maybe, like, a little bit of twitching to a certain point. Maybe. I don't know.
I actually have no idea.
I think I read something the other day where it's like your brain is like the last, or your hearing is the last thing to go. So like for some people who are like
that makes sense,
medically declared dead and they're like brought back, they were able to hear like
all
of
right,
that, even though technically they were dead. Like
their
heart was stopped, all that kind of stuff. But back to starfish.
Because technically your brain could potentially still work for a little bit without your heart pumping.
A little. It's like it's like slowly things like kind of shut down, but for some reason I think hearing is like the very last of those things to shut down.
That's weird.
For a certain period of time. Yeah. And I don't remember how long. But kind of like it was like longer than I thought it was going to be. But anyway, and I guess we would never really know a lot of that because if you're not brought back after that sort of thing, you can't just tell people like, hey, I could hear everything that was going on.
Yeah.
But basically I wanted to know if they could feel pain, and the answer was yes, but they don't really feel it like we do because they can't process it because they don't have a brain. And then one of the little Google suggested questions is sometimes when you scroll down far enough, it'll get that box of like similar questions and you can click on them and just get like hard and fast answers. So I started clicking on those, and then there was one on like what's their IQ, and I was like, well, obviously they don't have an IQ because they don't have a brain. That was the answer. And then I was thinking, what are other animals' IQs? This is where we get to rats.
That's
how it's connected.
Rat IQ.
That's how I got here.
Amazing.
So anyway, rat's IQ is 105. Average human IQ is between 100 and 115. And so
that's wild.
It's wild, but at the same time, there's not like, so intelligent quotient, I think is what it stands for.
Yeah.
There's not a way to like measure ours to theirs because there's not a set test for animals' IQ.
Yeah.
Like there is human. And even human IQ is kind of like, I mean, it's not always going to be as accurate just depending on like people's strengths, weaknesses, whatever.
Sure.
But there's not really a way for us to like say, oh, they're just as smart, because obviously they're not.
Right.
But like there were some people saying they can't even, like some researchers were saying that no, we can't even measure animals' intelligence. But from another research site, I got the IQ, and like I got like a IQ for like dolphins and dogs and stuff like that too, which is.
Do you
like,
think it's accurate?
Slightly higher.
Or do you think it's just some researcher making things up?
I don't know, because like if you're thinking about these, I mean, this was some researcher that's had. Yeah, should we check the? You got a minute. So basically, just so everyone knows, cut the cameras one more time. Back for one last time. This will probably be our last topic.
One more time to cut the cameras. We're not going to make any mistakes like we had the last 2 times we've shot this podcast.
Man, what if the cards fell up?
Rest in peace on the first one.
But I don't really know how they determine when they give you like an actual number for like how intelligent animals are.
Yeah.
I wonder how they determine that, because you can't even rank. I mean, you can rank one animal among another. But, like, we're always finding out new things that animals are...
Yeah. I was going to say, like, a dog gets trained because he knows that if he does something, sometimes he gets a treat. Or he feels pain.
Well, what they found out about rats...
a little shock collar or something like that.
So rats' brains are wired very similarly to human brains, which is, like, kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And, like, we're special as a species because we're able to, like, know that we're thinking.
Right.
So, like, you can... think
process.
Like, hey, I'm thinking right now.
Sure.
Rats can do that too. There's a name for it. It's like meta something.
How do we know that?
I don't know. I researched. Well, it was in one of the things that I don't have any of the articles pulled up, so maybe that'll be like a next episode thing, and I can give you all of the sites. That
Let us know in the comments if you guys would like to hear more about the rat's IQ.
Rats. Hang on, I can pull it up so quickly.
That's interesting.
Metacognition is what it's called. That's the ability to think about your own thinking. That was the word I was thinking of. But basically, it's like really uncommon among anything not human, like any other animal, or like non-primates anyway. So like monkeys and apes, like they have that ability 100%. But it's interesting to know that rats can too, because it's just not a typical trait you would find among any four-legged friend.
Sure.
But basically, their brains are wired similarly to ours, and when these researchers, and I'll get all this for the next podcast because none of this is pulled up. It was, but I deleted it off my computer.
That's tough.
Because I saved it for Ghost and stuff. I wanted to know about physics.
Physics.
I don't understand physics that well.
I don't either. I took a physics class once.
I had to in high school.
I think I did.
And I hated it. Besides the fact that we got to make marble roller coasters. That was really fun.
I actually don't remember if I took a physics class.
There's this unrelated, but it's like still science.
Uh-huh.
There was this chemistry class that I was gonna have to take because nothing else was open in my college, and I was just like waiting for the seat somewhere else to open. I ended up taking geology instead, which I didn't even want. I wanted this one class that just wasn't. It was so frustrating, but I had to take a science class, or I wasn't gonna like graduate on time. So I stepped into this chemistry class, got up into like honestly the worst. I should have sat toward the front. Because if I sat toward the front, I would have been able to leave like much quicker without drawing attention to myself. Because it's like one of the lecture hall sort of rooms. Yeah. What you got going on there?
Sorry, I just got invited to your house tonight.
Really?
I'm not sure how.
Who invited you? It wasn't me.
I know. That's funny. I guess Amelia did, but in the tennis group chat, her and Melissa must be talking.
Interesting. Most of the time when I'm in a group chat with them, I kind of just sit there and read the information that's coming at me, and then I just accept whatever we're doing. Like, whatever it is. Like, I'm sure I'll be there if it's my house.
We've got the squad of, like, 6 of us, and something's usually happening after work every time.
Yeah,
every day.
Pretty much. But our movie night was moved up, which is why it's today.
The girls have a movie night, and the boys have a burger boys night, where we have been rating the top 10 burgers, or top burgers in Savannah. Not 10. We're up to 14 right now. It's been a fun journey.
We haven't rated our movies. We were just sitting there and enjoying them.
It's fair.
Well, Amelia and I sit there quietly, and then Olivia and Melissa just kind of talk through the movie.
Sounds about right.
It's a nice little time.
I believe that.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't know where I left off on rats.
Sorry.
I'll get all
Distracted
this.
you there.
I'll get all this like
Yeah.
all of my .edu sites on it or whatever later. But basically, they're able to think about thinking, which is like very interesting because most animals can't do that.
Right.
And they kind of like just share. Oh, I remember what I was talking about. There are these researchers, and I'll get the university and everything. Maybe I'll just put it in the caption.
Yeah.
But they did the same sort of like, it was just kind of like a like test that they did with humans and they did it with rats. And originally, and it was just to measure intelligence and like problem solving skills.
Right.
And so they had a series of tests, and obviously I think they would be slightly different between the two groups. Originally, they were just going to use rats, and they were like, we just wonder if they can solve this issue.
Yeah.
They were just curious. And then they saw that they solved it really well, and they're like, they kind of solved that the way like a person would solve that.
Yeah.
So they're like, let's bring people into the mix.
That's fair. I
Brought
guess these
people in.
experiments are going on all the time.
It's so interesting. But anyway, they did the experiment, and then they did it again, and the rats were better than the people the second time. So they changed it slightly, so it's not something they already knew. But basically, like, the reason why they thought the rats did better was because they said, like, our brains are wired the same way, but humans, like, everything that we know. So the example they gave was, like, if you were to ask an x-ray technician that what they saw on the screen was, like, something bad or, like, something off, a lot of them probably wouldn't be able to explain it where you could understand.
Right.
It's, like, something that they were taught time and time and time again all through whatever school, medical school? Do x-ray technicians go to, that's like a separate
I'm sure.
thing. But, like, it's like a
I would
separate
assume
thing.
so.
They have a person who does the x-ray. They have a person who reads it. The person who reads the x-ray does medical school. Got it.
I think they both do medical school.
To an extent, but one goes
Fair.
longer, I guess.
That's fair.
I don't know. I didn't research that. But basically, like, they learned it to the point where they can definitely, like, recognize and understand it and know that something's, like, off or something's fine.
Sure.
But if you were to just say, like, how did you know that? They may not be able to fully explain that.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of the way that humans learn things. And rats they don't really go through any of those same learning processes.
Yeah.
So even though our brains are, like, wired the same way, like, they may have, like, that freedom to, like, go about the same problem in a different way the second time and be more efficient.
Right.
And so, like, they were like, that's really interesting. And then they kind of, like, built off of that where my favorite part, they literally, like, taught rats how to drive tiny little rat cars.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's this tiny little clear jug, and they climb through the back. Their little tail sticks out, and it's on, like, an RC, like, bottom. So it's got 4 little RC wheels, and they have wiring where if they touch the front, it completes the circuit. They go forwards, touch the left side, goes left, touch the right side, goes right, touch the back, goes back. And they would have, like, initially, like, Cheerios, and they were going, or Fruit Loops or something, and they would hit a target to get that prize.
Yeah.
But they found that even without that, they still wanted to do it because when they measured their cortisol levels, our stress hormone, it went down when they drove.
Interesting.
So driving literally, like, helped them de-stress.
Yeah.
So, like, if someone is, like, really mad or having a bad day and they go for a drive and they blast the music,
They just feel so much better.
Literally the same effect that it would have on us. It was the coolest thing.
That is neat.
So, like, rats' intelligence, really cool. And they also said that, like, using rats in the lab and everything kind of, like, takes the stress off of, like, using monkeys and apes and stuff, which is still really unfortunate. They even built, like, this thing, I can't remember what it's called, but they, like, take part of the rat skull off and put a film over it so you can see their brain.
Interesting.
I don't really know what they were like, so we can see it working. I don't know. You have to use something else to see it working, but anyway,
Interesting.
Rats are smart, is what the
Smart as
experts
us.
say. Maybe it depends on how you want to measure IQ. But yeah, I looked everywhere on that. I was like, I literally can't find one thing that can measure animal IQ because there's not, like, a test that can actually do that.
Huh.
I saw yesterday
That's
that
cool.
Dogs can drive too, but they drove real cars and they actually had their paws in the wheel on a track.
Wow.
I know.
I can only imagine your For You page.
Yeah.
It's gotta be insane.
Actually. Well, TikTok has, like, a STEM section too now.
A what?
A STEM section?
STEM section? What's that? Do I have that?
Yeah.
On mine?
Yeah. STEM.
I will say my For You page recently has been very off. I've gotten very bored on TikTok.
Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The only
Can you,
part
like,
that
be
I'm-
on STEM?
Yeah, you just swipe over. It's an extra tab.
It's just straight STEM?
Yep. In all capitals. But it's like, I'm really only
Maybe I need
interested in
to
the
update my
science
app.
part, but I used to get these really cool,
Also, shout out to the 39 of you that follow us on TikTok
Let's
already.
go. I used to get those periodic table of element. You got it?
Oh my gosh. Someone was singing on live. That's really funny.
Do you have it?
No.
What? Let me see.
Oops.
No way.
I got a shop, a following, and a for you. Maybe I need to update my app.
Ian, I have STEM. Surely, look.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
used
cool.
to get. I think
that's probably because they're trying not to get banned in the United States. I watched the Republican debate the other day just to just know who's running for president. And TikTok was one of the main questions in the debate. They're like, so
How
what
is
would you
an
do about
app
TikTok?
One of the main questions of the debate.
Because of the they're saying that the Chinese, obviously, like the Chinese spying on us and
I
like
heard
getting
a lot about
information
that
on
at my
Americans and stuff like
Thanksgiving
that. It's like, I think TikTok might be coming to an end at some point,
I don't believe
which
that.
would be very sad.
I don't believe that.
I don't know. I think it's gonna get banned at some point.
It's just in a country.
It almost got banned a couple years ago.
In a country like ours, to ban something like that just feels very.
But if they think the Chinese are, I guess they are. Right? I don't know. I haven't researched it enough, but
Even if
that's what they say. The Chinese are taking all the
that it
information
is,
on us.
what are they going to do with that information?
I mean, I don't care if
Absolutely
I don't care
not.
about anybody
Also,
knowing that I like.
I took a
baseball
class in
videos.
college. I took a class in college about statistics,
Mhm.
and it was very marketing art based.
Right.
And I learned about basically how third parties will ping your location, and that's how they target
Yeah.
you, and how
And how they listen to you whenever you're talking.
If you're at Target, and this is actually really interesting. It'll track what you're buying. So maybe you're buying high chair and stuff like stuff that would indicate that you're going to have a kid or something.
Right.
You'll start getting those targeted ads.
That's crazy.
If you have those kind of things, with if they have the permission to do that.
Right.
But some people absolutely hate it. But you're going to get ads either way.
Might as well be something you
get
want.
something
Yeah, right.
that you need. Yeah. So it's
The listening one freaks me out, but
your information is going to be out there.
Yeah.
No matter what you
just
do.
accept it.
When I worked at a bank, people used to be scared to say their social security to me, and I was like, really? No one's going to be able to do anything with that. They would be like, can I write it down on a piece of... Yeah. I was like, it's so readily available for anyone. It's everywhere.
Their social security numbers?
Everyone's.
You think you could find mine?
Maybe.
That's crazy.
I might be able to.
Because you could do a lot of things with it.
You could, but at the same time, it's just you use it for everything.
True.
And knowing the last 4 digits, no one's going to guess the other one. It's just
you just need the last 4 digits in a bank.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But he'd be like, can I write it down? I'd be like, yeah, I mean, I guess so. But that feels less secure because now it's on a piece of paper.
Yeah, really.
What
That's
are you going to
funny.
do? That was the same day that a German lady yelled at me because she thought I put money in the wrong account, and I didn't.
You working at a bank, I just don't see it. I feel like you'd hate that.
I was 18. I was the youngest person there.
Classic. Needed work.
I didn't like it.
That's fair. Well, is that where we end the second
think
episode of the
so.
Hear Me Out podcast?
Yeah, maybe.
That was a good episode. This is my favorite one so far out of the 3 that we've shot.
Yeah, maybe someday. Do we have the footage from the first one?
The first,
The first one that didn't go anywhere?
the one card got corrupted.
You're not going to see it.
You're not going to see the first episode. That was
gonna
episode
say-
0. This is technically episode 2.
This is, yeah, and if you really want to say, technically it's 3, but...
Technically it's episode 3, but you guys never saw 1, which is technically 0, so technically this is 2.
Sure. Sure.
Oh, man. All right.
So, yeah. End of episode 2. We'll
Yep.
see you guys again next
week.
Thursday.
Yep.
Thursday?
Thursday at 7 o'clock is going to be, I think, our time. 7:01. We want to be different about here.
7:01.
Hear me out. We got to be different.
Had to be very specific on that one. And do you have any topics you'd like to tease for the people for next
To be 100% honest, I came up with the topics that I brought to the table when we got here today. That's why I haven't been telling you them all week.
And I knew that. And I knew you were...
And look
I've
how
been
easy
telling,
it flowed.
And I've been
It flowed
telling
so nice.
everybody that.
Talked about the Hunger Games, which was a great topic.
I might talk
Ted
about...
Bundy.
I might do a little bit more research, give you guys the references I took on rats.
Yep.
And I might also do a little bit more bullet pointed reasons why ghosts just probably can't exist according to science.
It's fair.
Although I did enjoy the ghost tour that I went on thoroughly. It was great. And actually I told one of the ghosts there about the rats, and he responded on
I'm glad.
on the little radio machine thingy.
Good. That must mean they're real.
And then I told him to throw this little toy rat across the room, and he wouldn't do it. Oh, what luck that was to have him there. Anyway, yeah, thanks for joining us. Thanks for hearing us out.
Thanks for hearing us out. This was a great week.
Ian and Katelyn.
See you and Katelyn. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and Spotify.
Yeah.
Hopefully get to the point where we're posting a clip every 2 days, at least. I think we got a lot of clips from this one. I really do.
Yeah.
I think it will. You'll see those on TikTok. And YouTube. And Instagram. So you better be following on all 3.
All platforms.
All right. We'll see you next week. Peace out.
Bye.